Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at some new single strike Pokemon. We've looked at a new Rapid Strike Pokemon from the set. It's only fair that we finish off having a little bit of a look at some of these single strike Pokemon. So let's go and start off with Banette. Translations here from the lovely Antoine Boulet. So if we start off having a little bit of a look at the basics here, we've got 80 HP, which on the one hand is low, but on the other hand does open up Level Ball as an option. That has had a reprint, so that's kind of cool. We've got a retreat cost of 1 here, which is nice and low, which we very much appreciate. And we got a resistance to fighting, which isn't going to make much difference, honestly. What I really want here is to be able to take a hit from Rapid Strike Urshifu, but it's hitting 120 or 150, which with resistance is 90 or 120, either of which will KO here, so that resistance means very, very little. As for the weakness to darkness, same kind of deal. You got 80 HP. Sure, there are some Pokemon that can take advantage of it, but you've got 80 HP. This is not a Pokemon we're playing for tank ability. But we are playing for the attacks, bearing in mind this is a single strike Pokemon. And what we've got here is a 1 Psychic Energy Resolute Spite. Put up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon. This attack does 20 damage for each damage counter you placed in this way. Now, a quick ruling query, because we've seen this before, we'll get there in a second. Yes, you can put enough damage counters on to KO you. Yes, you will do the damage before you get KO'd. So if you use this attack and your opponent doesn't hit you back, then essentially what you do is you can put another 7 damage counters on there. Now, you will be KO'd, but not before you do the 140 damage. And you know what? A lot of the time, that is going to work. And this ruling is one that absolutely stays in my mind, because it actually came from the Crimson Invasion Mamoswine. Although Mamoswine was a stage 2 that attacked for 4 energy. So, yeah, it wasn't terribly viable. Although it was drawn by Mitsuhiro Arita, and I was able to get this card signed by Mitsuhiro Arita, so that makes me pretty gosh darn happy. So we know the ruling is like that. Now, we have seen a card very similar to this in the recent past. It was a Frostlass, and that Frostlass saw a bunch of play. But there was a very good reason why it did. You see, Spiteful Sigh was basically the exact same attack. 1 colored energy, up to 7 damage counters on an 80 HP Pokemon, 20 for each damage counter you put on there. But it got a 1-hit KO on Reshiram and Charizard. And that was essentially it, right? Because Reshiram and Charizard has 280 HP, you would do 140, double with weaknesses 280, that's why you played it. Frostlass was a good counter to Reshiram and Charizard, as well as other fire stuff. So the question here is, are you hitting a relevant number? And the answer is, maybe. Because you see, if we're looking for psychic weakness, now I will say, for a very brief period pre-rotation, because bearing in mind the rotation is going to happen like 6 weeks after this comes out in Chilling Reign, we are going to still have Mewtwo and Mew. And this is an amazing counter to Mewtwo and Mew. Because you put 7 damage counters on, you do 140 damage, but you double it with weakness to 280, and oh look. The problem is, this is an attack that is spec'd for tag team Pokemon, not VMAXs, and pretty much as soon as this comes out, we're going to be moving into a format with VMAXs, not tag teams. And I'm sorry, but this is a genuine problem, which is going to really impact the playability of this card. Because if we put it against something like Rapid Strike Urshifu V, you are fine. Because Rapid Strike Urshifu V's got 220 HP. So you basically need 6 damage counters, and then you will be doing 120, double with weaknesses 240, you'll get the KO. But we said you max out at 280 here, and Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max has got 330. Now, to be fair, you're only 50 damage away, and you're a single prize Pokemon going up against a free prize Pokemon, there are ways to bridge that gap. But the fact of the matter is we are falling just that tiny bit short here, and it's a little bit sad. Really going against Mewtwo and Mew, though. And to be fair, it's still single energy 140. You are basically giving up a prize to do so. And if you already used it once, you are literally giving up a prize to do so. But do bear in mind, even if you've only got 10 HP remaining, you can do the full 140 here. And if you're going to be KO'd, you might as well do the full 140 anyway. It's something to bear in mind, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. Something to bear in mind. But before we go to the second attack, I should remind you about Single Strike Energy. Now, it's a little bit awkward, alright? Because Single Strike Energy is an energy that you put on Single Strike Pokemon. You do an extra 20 damage, that is amazing, but it only pays Fighting and Darkness Energy. It doesn't actually pay this attack cost. And you can accelerate it with Houndoom, but the problem there is you've got to put 2 damage counters on, which means if you use this attack to the fullest, you will self-KO while you do so. So it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you get a Single Strike Energy on here, and then add a Vitality Band, you're not doing 140 anymore. You're doing 170. And would you believe it, that is exactly the amount of damage that you need to do to get a one-hit KO on a Rapid Strike Urshifu, or indeed a Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. And yeah, I know it's 2 energy, and if you're using Houndoom, which you might need to because you've got 80 HP, if you try attaching manually, you ain't gonna last. And you KO yourself, and it's, yeah, okay, I get it. But with a Vitality Band and a Single Strike Energy, you will get a one-hit KO on a free prize Pokemon. That has got to be something you've got to be working towards. Incidentally, you could also do it with an Emboar in play. Now, I know Emboar isn't really seeing much play at the moment, but remember, Emboar says all your Single Strike Pokemon do an extra 30 damage. And you can put it into play with Mustard, so you don't actually need to play it as a Stage 2. And that is another thing to bear in mind here, because actually that would then just get easy KOs on Rapid Strike Urshifu. And we've got that new Karen card that is Double Iris. It does an extra 20 damage for each prize card your opponent's taken, which means as soon as your opponent's taken 2 prizes, you will be getting a one-hit KO. So, yes, you fall a little bit short of the VMAX, but I suppose the point I'm making here is you're a Single Strike Pokemon, you've got ways to do extra damage. Now, the second attack, I don't really want to spend any real time on. 2 energy, 50 damage plus Confusion. Yes, I like Confusion, but 50 damage isn't much, and I do not want to put 2 energy onto an 80 HP Pokemon. No. But no one cares about the second attack. The first attack is great. Yes, you've got to jump through a few hoops in order to get a one-hit KO on a free prize Pokemon, but you know what? Those hoops are jumpable, and we're talking about a free prize Pokemon that is one of the most played Pokemon, at least if you look at recent online tournaments, looks like it is going to be one of the most popular decks out there. Come on. Seems good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Seems good to me. And then we've got one more Single Strike Pokemon to have a look at. It is Qwilfish, which is kind of interesting. So we've got 90 HP here, which again means Level Ball is on the table. We've got a single retreat cost, which is quite cheap, and a weakness to fighting, which isn't ideal, but you got 90 HP. Don't sweat your weakness, you'll be fine. Being a Darkness Pokemon does mean you are hitting weakness against Ghost Horse or Emo Horse or whatever you're choosing to call Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. But you can see the only attack we've got here does 30 damage, so don't get too excited. Plus, when the rotation hits, we're losing Black Market Prism Star, so you can't even not give up a prize. That's a little bit sad. But there is a draw here, and the draw is the ability. The ability says that if this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put 6 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So when you go down, and you do have to be knocked out, damage isn't enough, you do have to be KO'd. But when you're KO'd, you get to put 6 damage counters on them as you go. That's alright. That'll do. The problem is, in the format we're in at the moment, 6 damage counters isn't really very much. Except in some matchups. I actually really like this, for instance, in the Eternatus Mirror. It's only an example, but it illustrates my point quite nicely. So in the Eternatus Mirror, you're both swinging for 270 plus the odd extra damage counter from Galarian Zigzagoon. But let's be honest, you need 7 damage counters to bridge the gap between Dread End and a KO. That's too much. If you put Qwilfish active, your opponent can either swing into it, and then they're in range of your Eternatus, or not swing into it. And sure, some turns they'll have boss's orders, and to be clear, they'll never actually swing into it. But my point is, because you put it up there, you stop them swinging into it, and you buy yourself a turn unless they have gusting. So if they don't have boss's orders or some other kind of gusting, this actually works. How ridiculous is that? And this is basically where we're going. There will be some key matchups where 6 damage counters is the difference in a KO or not a KO. So essentially, you give up a 1 prize Pokemon to help you get a KO next turn on a 2 or 3 prize Pokemon, and the trade ends up worth it. Of course, remember, Escape Rope is back in the format now. So if you really want to use this, you might need to have 2 Qwilfish out, so that if your opponent does rope you, you can just switch between them. I don't think this is a great Pokemon generally. I think it is very, very specific. But in those specific matchups, it kind of works, ladies and gentlemen. It kind of works. The attack is trash garbage, 2 energy, 30 damage plus poison. I appreciate the fact that it's colorless energy, so any energy acceleration will work. Twin energy will work. And I know that it's a basic Pokemon single energy attack, and I'm usually all over these, yeah? But no. Sorry. I just no. Frankly. Just no. It's not good enough. The only time I really want to use this is if I am using it in a matchup for the ability and I'm trying to kind of goad my opponent into attacking it and they're refusing to attack it. I like the idea of just poking with Qwilfish, but I think most of the time I'm not going to want to put the energy on, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them some scores. Qwilfish is a free WotC card. It is exactly the kind of card you want to have in your binder. It's rarely going to win you lots of games, but it can absolutely swing some matchups if used at the right time. Banette. I'm giving Banette between 4 and 5 WotCs. We don't give half WotCs. That would be barbaric. If I am playing a Psychic deck or a single strike deck or something that can really take advantage of this, yes, it's a little awkward, but you can make this KO the best, or one of the best free prize Pokemon in the format, and that's pretty gosh darn good. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that fun stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.